If I were to ask you who you think has the most underrated prospect pool in the NHL, who would you say? Would you say a team like the Washington Capitals, who have used late first round picks alongside second, third, and fourth round steals to quietly and quickly build one of the most stacked pools in the NHL? Or would you say it's Pat Verbeek and the Anaheim Ducks, who have consistently surprised people with their picks, seemingly prioritizing size over everything, making everyone eat their own words with how dynamic and elite these picks and talents turn out to be? While both are great and certainly worth mentioning, for me, it is a team who has had a mixed bag in the last 5 years in terms of playoff success. They've experienced the extreme lows of star players leaving and finding success elsewhere. So when I describe a team that hasn't been bad enough to tank and hasn't been able to hold on to star players, you wouldn't expect for them to have one of the most promising futures in the NHL. Well, who am I talking about? The Calgary Flames. Welcome to the first part of my 5-part series where I break down my top 5 prospect pools in the NHL. In this video, I will discuss and go into detail the previously mentioned Calgary Flames and how they are the 5th ranked prospect pool in my rankings. Now, I do expect some pushback on this because I haven't seen anyone else rank the Calgary Flames prospect pool this high, but I hope that by the end of this video, you will understand or even agree with why I have them here. With that being said, let's get into it. And when I'm ranking teams' prospect pools, I'm looking for 3 things in this order. First, top end talent and potential. Second, a good balance of positions, so having solid forward, defensive, and goalie prospects. And third, a solid depth throughout the prospect pool. Now, these are my top 10 players in the Flames prospect pool, or at least how I see it. And Flames fans, really let me know what you guys think of these rankings. Am I overvaluing or undervaluing certain players? Am I missing out on someone? Let me know. But I haven't just thrown this list together randomly. I've spent a lot of time watching film on all of these players, as well as other players in the Flames pool, and I really think I have a kind of a comprehensive list here. Now, starting out with the crown jewel of the Flames prospect pool, we have Zay Pere. Now, anyone who have watched my previous videos before knows how high I am on Zay Pere. In my top 50 prospect rankings in the entire NHL, I have Zay Pere ranked 3rd. If you're interested in that video, I'll leave it in the description below. But I love Zay Pere's game, and I just love how he has consistently developed and improved each year. Now, being a Sharks fan, I start preparing for the draft lottery right when the season starts, unfortunately. So I watched a ton of Saginaw Spirit this year, knowing that Michael Misa would probably make it in that draft lottery. And obviously, that's who the Sharks ended up taking. But in watching Michael Misa, the one player who kept jumping out to me was Zay Pere. The way he was able to find empty spaces on the ice, get the puck, and either set up one of his teammates with a dangerous goal-scoring opportunity or sniping in a shot himself, I was constantly impressed with Pere's game. It is so rare to find a hockey prospect, and especially a defensive prospect, who has elite hockey IQ, vision, and great lateral movement. His edge work and creativity make him a true power play quarterback of the future. I hope it's coming across how much I love and how excited I am to watch Zay Pere at the next level. After Ivan Demidov, he has to be the next player that I'm most interested in watching. I really do believe that Zay Pere will push for a roster spot this year in the NHL, and if he can stick in the NHL, look for him to become a Calder favorite. Okay, hockey fans, not just Calgary fans, hockey fans, can I paint you an exciting picture? It is March of next year, and the Calder race has evolved into a 2-headed monster. Zay Pere versus Ivan Demidov. I mean, can you imagine a more exciting race and a more interesting way for the season to evolve into? Now, Pere's game isn't perfect. He is a pure offensive defenseman. His defense work obviously needs improvement. Sometimes he can be overzealous and take offensive risks. Also, he's not the biggest dude, but with Pere's offensive upside, he more than overcomes any of those weaknesses. Next in the Flames prospect pool, I have Colin Potter, and I know that I'm higher on Potter than most hockey fans, but in Potter, you have a high IQ, excellent skater, I'm talking top end speed, and an excellent playmaker. Now, I know there are concerns about Potter's size and whether he'll be able to adjust to the physicality at the next level, but the way he's able to cut in the ice, turn, and keep his speed is so unusual and unique that I see Potter as an incredibly high upside player. If you're a Calgary fan, watch Colin Potter this year at Arizona Arizona State. I think he's going to put on a show this year. To me, if Potter can build strength and continue to refine his game, his incredible speed and natural playmaking make him an easy second-line center fit of the future for the Calgary Flames. Okay, next I have another undersized forward who was drafted this last year, and that's Rashne. And Rashne has incredible hands, and despite being a smaller player, he's got a really competitive mindset. His 200-foot game plus the leadership that he's shown make him a high compete player for me. And you have seen Rashne elevate his game when it matters most. In international play for Team Canada, Rashne has been a consistent standout. I'm actually really excited to see Rashne bring his high-end creativity to the NCAA this year. I believe he's playing for North Dakota, and I think this is a perfect spot for him to round out his game playing against a little more physicality. Next, I have Henry Muse. And guys, it is time to start putting respect on Henry Muse's game, okay? Not saying Muse is going to be one of these players, but his game is kind of like Brandon Montour, Adam Fox. I think as a defenseman, he's a really good breakout passer. He's got a really strong rush game. He's good at reading offensive plays. It's almost like having an extra forward on the ice. Muse is committed to the University of Michigan this year, which I think is a perfect place for him to round out the weaker parts of his game, which are on the defensive side and physicality. If he can add those parts to his game, I think he has enormous upside with already how talented he is on the offensive side of the puck. I think Muse is a gem just waiting to pop in Calgary. Next up is Luke Misa, obviously the older brother of Michael Misa. Luke is a speedy, shifty playmaker with excellent transition skills. His open ice vision makes line mates' lives easier by him able to find them in dangerous goal scoring opportunities. Though Luke Misa lacks size, only listed around 5'10", he plays much above that in my opinion. He's got a certain feistiness and competitiveness to his game that is definitely worth mentioning. I see him more as a playmaking complementary winger than sticking at the center position, but we'll see what the future holds for Luke Misa. Hunter Brustevich is next, and tell me if you've heard this before, but he is a mobile, puck-moving defenseman. His poise, deception, and passing are elite, and even though his defensive game and top-end speed need work, I did see improvement throughout this last year in the AHL. If he can improve and refine his two-way game a little more, I could see him push for NHL minutes sooner rather than later. Brustevich is someone who I can see be a regular on the power play, with definitely top 4 defenseman upside, as long as maybe he's paired with a more defensively minded partner. Matvei Gridin is a very dynamic and offensively gifted player. He's got a quick, accurate shot, and I like his one-on-one skills also. Something else that's come a long way is his playmaking skills. He's got a real talent for finding open teammates. I just don't love his off-the-puck play and his defensive instincts. Sometimes I do see some effort concerns also, but I thought his transition from the USHL to the QMJHL was seamless, and Calgary fans let me know because I haven't been able to find what his next step is, but I would love to see him in the AHL next year and play against professional players. I heard he really turned some heads last year in Calgary's training camp, and if he keeps on doing that, I think it might not be too long till we see Matvei Gridin in the NHL. Samuel Hanzek is next, and he brings much needed size to this Calgary prospect pool. His 6'4" build makes him a strong penalty killer. He's effective defensively. He's good at playing in high pressure situations, but his offensive output has been inconsistent, and it's also worth noting that injuries have hampered his development. His 21 points weren't bad this last year in the AHL, but I'd like to see him regain some consistency and see some offensive growth to his game. If Hanzek can do that, I see him becoming that really coveted, big, bruising, physical, yet talented forward that almost every NHL GM is trying to find. Thanks to the Florida Panthers. I have Theo Stoellius next, and I know this one might be a bit of a surprise. He was just drafted in this last year's draft, but man, for those of you who don't know Theo Stoellius, let me put you on to him. This is a guy who I was hoping the Sharks would draft. I love the physical presence and offensive potential that he showed this last year. He's not the most polished dude ever, but his size and versatility make him a project with some serious upside. Plus, I saw a decent amount of hustle and defensive instincts in his game, which tells me he may develop into a decent 200-foot player. So Calgary fans, watch out for him this next year and the years to come, because I think he might be a gem in the rough. Last, I have the goalie, Arceni Sergiov, and I don't have Arceni here because I think he's Calgary's 10th best prospect. I have him here because I really wanted to include a goalie on this list. I think he probably falls in the 15th range here. But this does highlight one of Calgary's biggest weaknesses, maybe their biggest weakness, and that is the goalie situation. Arceni, from everyone I hear talk about him, because I'm not great at evaluating goalies, is his upside is probably AHL starter, maybe NHL backup, but we'll see if he can develop his game more at Penn State. 3 players I did want to highlight that just missed the list are Andrew Basha, Idar Suniev, and Rory Cairns. And there you have it. That wraps up my top prospects in Calgary's system. The obvious strength that jumps out to me is this silly offensive upside in this prospect pool, not just from the forward position, from guys like Colin Potter, Cole Rashne, Matveyev Gridin. From the defensive side, obviously you have Zay Pere, who is a stud. Players like Henry Muse I see as really developing into a solid offensive player. I think there's a ton of offensive talent just waiting to burst onto the scene in Calgary. The weaknesses I kind of highlighted already, but that's obviously the goalie position. I'd love to see them shore up their goalie prospects, although they've got a pretty talented young goalie in Dustin Wolf already, so I'm not sure that's a road they're going to have to cross anytime soon. They're pretty set there already, but also size. They don't have a tremendous amount of size and physicality here. Other than that, a really solid prospect pool and a super promising future for Calgary. Please comment down below and let me know where you guys agree or even disagree. I had a ton of fun commenting with a ton of you in my last video, and I hope that continues in the future. If you guys enjoyed the video and are interested in seeing which teams are next in my rankings, please consider liking and subscribing. With that being said, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.